Sister Circle, we wanted to do a special tribute to all of our sisters out there and put together some of the favorite ones that you've sent us and just said how encouraging it was. So sit back, enjoy, and if you haven't watched the full episode, please go back and watch, and we will see you next week. Anybody to find quality people that you connect with and already having those childhood issues of not making friends. It's just like, okay, I got one. I want to save this one. And I overlooked. And it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's a bad person. They can be absolutely amazing and the time could be off.
Yeah, wrong season.
Yeah. I have had some friends that I've had when I was 4 years old, and then, things shift and it's a 10-year gap, and then we come back and it's just like, now we fit because we're in our season.
Yeah, that's good.
But without being able to realize that, I had to work on myself.
One day I'm just around the house doing my thing, and I'm reminded of an event that happened 30 plus years ago that was really traumatic for me, and God wanting to use it, feeling like I needed to talk about it. So that event is, as I mentioned, 30 plus years ago, I decided to abort a pregnancy. And when I got the feeling like, okay, God, you want me to talk about this, but what does that look like? Why are you bringing this up now? Because we're past that. I'm forgiven for that, all of these things. But then getting the clarity and the confirmation that us aborting assignments that he's given us in life.
I was completely by myself. Having that love made it to a point where I was able to survive it. Like, okay, I'm going to get through this because I know if nothing else, I have that love to cover me.
Yeah.
And if we could show that to everybody else, regardless of what their situation is, regardless of what their circumstance is, and say, okay, I love you. You might have to dig in it behind later, but I was upset because I knew what came with it. I knew I was going to go with, I was going to have to deal with postpartum depression. It gets worse every single time.
Yeah, and it's the third time.
Yes, now I got to go through this again. It was because I failed the test the first 2 times. Well, 3, because I had the miscarriage. And he was like, now I'm going to make you go through it again because you still didn't do anything with what you've been tested with. And I think what we are tested with and what our purpose is tied together.
That is, girl. Listen, sisters, that was a word because I purposely didn't. Like, I remember a situation that I had, and although it was definitely warranted, where it was a friendship that I had, and I let go, and I was trying to pick it back up, and you did everything but curse me. Like,
I cursed when I got off the phone. I was
you better not. You better
and
not.
I was like, when she got off the phone, I was like, did you see this? Like, get her. You don't know how many times I've had conversations. I'm like, get her, please,
get her. Get your girl.
But like, God worked quick when it comes to them prayers with my sister, because it's like she'll come back half an hour later. Did you know just what?
Yeah, thank you, Lord. Yeah, but it's because of your heart, those heartstrings, like things pulling on your heartstrings, and that trick of the enemy.
And they know it, and that's the thing that be pissing me off with you, because it's just like people know your heart, so they know, but like, I just need, you need to go talk to Jesus and get away from my sister.
She crazy, y'all.
But yeah, I think that's the one thing like I kept hearing was my happiness came across fake.
That's fake.
Yeah. And this is like, this is who I am.
Yeah,
this is what you get.
I'm glad you finally got to the point where it's, I am who I am and not trying to shrink down to fit into someone else's opinion of who you are. Because this is genuinely who you are. And honestly, y'all, if she wasn't my sister, I wouldn't believe it either. But like she is. She's just genuinely, and it's not a lie. It's who God created you to be. But she is genuinely this happy, bubbly, like person. And she's like that all the time. Unless it was this beautiful image of this little girl, and her eyes were so bright, like so radiant. And it just touched something deep in my soul. And I felt like we have to go back and get that little girl that that God formed. Like, he knew who she was before she was formed in her mother's womb. He knew the plans he had for her before she was formed in her mother's womb. And in looking at her eyes, the radiance in her eyes just like showed like her hopes, her dreams, like her passion. But then life's traumas came and snatched them all away.
Yeah.
And then just like the trauma of it all, the cares of this world, the things that we have to face and deal with, snatched it all away from her. And we have to go back and get her. So that's what this is all about. What we're doing is all about going back and getting her.
You don't have to do it by yourself. Even on the days where you like, I can go through this by myself. Why? Why should you have to? Yeah, there's no reason why you should have to.
And that's what true sisterhood looks like. It looks like being there in those times when it's like, okay, I don't think I can make it. And for some people, like, you may not have a sister, or you may not have a sisterly relationship that's close. And if you can't cultivate that to get to the point where we've now are at, pray that God will bring you your person to step in, to fill in that gap, to be what you need in those times when you really need help. Because that's what true sisterhood is about. And that's what
whatever we are tempted with, whatever struggles we have, there is definitely, if it isn't your sister, luckily for me, it is. But if it isn't your sister, then there's another woman that is going through what you are going through, but you sit in silence with it because you're just the shame of being like, I can't be the only one dealing with this. I have, like, nobody else can possibly understand the struggle that I have.
That some friendships are just for seasons. And because of the fact that we're so accustomed to, okay, this has been my friend for way back when, so it's my friend forever. And knowing when to let those things go if it comes to a point where it's toxic, or it's hurting you, or it's hurting them, or you just no longer serve each other.
Am I asleep that I'm going to lose, or is this worth me taking time away from my kids in order to have this? That automatically right there limited a lot of stuff that I did because it's not worth it over my kids. It's going to completely deplete me, and then I can't pour into my kids. So now it's just like, it does both of us a disservice. I'm out. Like, that's it.
I'm not going.
Thank God for my kids, because
because they slowed you down, right? They slowed you down. You needed that.
To.
God knows what we need at all times.
I was fussing. That first, I'm like, I'm pregnant. Like, Lord. Married. Pregnant.
But feeling like you're not ready.
And I don't think you ever ready. Anything else to make you feel safe.
Because every day is a struggle between the flesh and who God says we are. But that just goes back to things that we talked about before, and that's healing that inner child. So you went all the way back to, what was that, middle school when you had to fight? Like a fight, you know? So you went all the way back to middle school, and you're finding something that still needs to be healed. So we all got to do the work, ladies.
I feel like there's always a motive to somebody wanting to get close. If you hadn't been here, then I'm just like, okay, what do you want? Like, are you after my energy? Are you after my resources? Like, what is it? Because there's got to be a reason, because I've been told I'm a lot. So if I'm a lot, then there's got more in me. I don't need it. Like, I got my post-it notes on the mirror. I have positive information. My dad going sell. I don't need it. And then it's just like, but then when it comes and you realize the shift in how you walk. So somebody come up to you and be like, ooh, your skin is glowing today. Or I like how that you cut your hair. Like, look at you. You finally let go of that piece. And then be like, not realizing. You see what it does to you internally. And be like, oh my God, I did need that.
That's not a God connection going forward. You know how people say no new friends?
You
know, like, the only new connections or new friends that I want is a God connection. Anything that's not a God connection, to the sense that is going to serve me, or somebody that's going to pour into me as I pour back into them, or it serves His kingdom, which is more of an assignment than a friendship, I don't want it. I'm good.
And I never learned the differences between, how they call them, like, associates and friends.
It was like, you're all or nothing.
I am.
Hey, Sister Circle, thank you so much for watching. We can't wait to share our next episode coming up next Thursday. We will see you soon. Thank you for watching.
See you soon.